In this live self-defense video, you'll be discovering the 5 effective strikes using your expandable self-defense baton. I wanted to show you first, before we get started with 5 strikes, I'm going to start with the most common to what I think is probably the most practical and most effective. But before we get to that, I want to show you that when you have a choice to get one of these, you better get the right one. There are a lot of these floating out there. I see them listed as tire thumpers. On Amazon, you'll find these. They sneak them in because they're not legal in many places. And you'll see, this one barely comes out anymore. This one's all plastic. It breaks so easily. It's a piece of garbage. Don't waste your money in getting a knockoff. Try to get like a name brand, the ASP brand, or something that is Monadnock makes them too. Something that's made a lot better than one of those other ones. It just says country of Taiwan. That's where this was made, in the country of Taiwan. This was made in the CCP, communist country of China, which is garbage. You see these, like I said, these are everywhere. Don't fall for this trap. Don't get one of these garbage. They barely work. They collapse. They'll pinch your fingers. You will not be able to defend yourself. They don't hit very hard. It's just garbage, but you see this almost everywhere. So make sure you read the description if you're trying to get it off of a mainstream website. Go for a law enforcement. If you can carry it, a lot of places you can't carry it. But the first thing when you open it, make sure you open it with force so that it's gonna lock in place. Practice that. The first thing you do is you get that, you're gonna need something hard. I can't collapse it against this or on this soft floor. I have to go to the hard floor, and you're gonna practice with that. Good afternoon, students, good to see you. Now, the way you're gonna hold your self-defense baton, and this is the same thing that police officers carry, and this is actually from a police officer who gave it to me, but you're gonna carry with your hand in the middle here. So there's a little bit of the stick sticking out the bottom that you're going to use for striking. We're going to talk about that when we get into the strikes. But the first one is the most common, and that's going to come off of your shoulder. Now, a lot of people, when they swing these, and you'll see all kinds of videos, a bunch of, thank you, Studer, for that donation. You'll see a bunch of thugs, I'm just going to say Antifa thugs, they get these and they use them to try to hurt people. We're just talking about self-defense, but they use them incorrectly. They're big, armed strikes, the whole arm coming forward instead of coming off the shoulder. When you learn how to fight with sticks, whether it's collie or stream of sticks, shorter sticks, you always want to learn how to fight behind your stick. You're always going to keep that stick between you and the threat for self-defense, and it's going to come off the shoulder, because if he comes in and say this is the threat and I'm doing one of these big wide strikes, my arm's going to wrap around his body. I'm not even going to hit him with my self-defense expandable baton. But if it comes off my shoulder, no matter where he is, he's going to run into that stick. And this one is hard steel, extremely hard. It's made for self-defense. From here, coming off your shoulder, this first strike, this angular strike coming through, you should always practice following through. Now, your target is what's going to be most important. More important than technique is where are you going to hit somebody for self-defense. You have to ask yourself, what can you remove or destroy? And think in terms of his ability to see, be awake, his ability to hear or think. Maybe you knock him out. You hit him, you can hit him in the neck and knock somebody out. You can break the arm. Maybe he's got a weapon, he's coming at you. You can smash that hand if you don't want to go for the head, or if that's what presents itself faster. And so you practice this first angle coming off the shoulder. And this angular strike is the first and the most common strike that you'll see when people are practicing and learning, especially law enforcement, how to use this self-defense expandable baton. The strike is coming off the shoulder. You have this first angle that can go anywhere from the head to the middle of the body, into the ribs, into the legs. You can come even, going down toward the ground, depending on what your target is you're trying to strike. Second one is going to come off of that second or that other shoulder. And it's the same thing. It has to come from the shoulder, not a big motion. If you're coming here and he comes in and closes that distance and locks your arm, you can still bring your stick forward by just twisting the wrist and coming forward here. You're going to be able to strike right here. Sorry, Taylor, I missed that question. So you practice coming off the shoulder. Every strike, put the first one with the second one. That's the first 2 strikes with your self-defense baton. Number 3 is going to be a horizontal strike coming from either direction, either coming from here. And when you do this, again, it starts in front of your body and you're pushing and pulling at the same time. Your arm is extending and your shoulders and hips are rotating. That pulls it through, making that strike. These are the same strikes that you're gonna learn how to do with your eskrima or kali martial arts sticks. Coming from the other side, your palm faces the ground and brings it through, both extending that arm and turning the shoulders. Not swinging this way. See how I'm swinging with my whole arm? When you do it this way and he closes that distance too fast or you miss, you're not gonna hit him with your stick. You're gonna hit him with your arm, there'll be nothing there. If you come from your shoulder and you turn and you push and rotate, pulling through at the same time, and then coming to the other shoulder, same thing, pushing and pulling through, coming through here. Now the third one is gonna be coming straight down on top. First one, your angular strikes, coming at a diagonal across the body, always off the shoulder. Second one coming off the shoulder and coming through your target, coming through the other way. Third one, striking just straight down on top. You could also turn your hand and bring it up and hit him under the chin, maybe between the legs. Maybe he's reaching out and you're gonna smash coming up. And again, you're fighting from behind your stick. The stick is always between you. We're gonna call this the threat, between you and the threat. Never to the side. See how your stick is over here? You're not gonna hit anything there. Always in the middle, either here, or coming down here, straight through here. Now the next one is turning your hand and reaching in and striking with this part here. When we started, I said you're gonna hold your hand in the middle, so you have a little bit coming out of the end here, and this is gonna come straight in. And this is a very effective, very powerful. This is getting more effective. I think these are effective strikes, especially if he's got a weapon in his hand, he's trying to reach you. You have reach advantage over a knife. He's got a knife or a bladed weapon, and this will break his bones. That's gonna smash his hand. If you can, smash that. My choice, if he's got a knife, then he doesn't mean to just hurt me with his knife. He's trying to take my life. If he's got a knife, he's trying to take your life. I say, go for the head, right? And there was a question, you asked me a question, how hard can you hit somebody in the head to drop them and knock them unconscious without breaking their skull? And you can't, there's no answer there. You're not gonna find, that's not gonna be a solution that's available to you. If you're defending yourself, you're gonna go in full speed, full power, especially if he's got some type of a weapon. You're not gonna be able to measure your strike in a way and just give enough to knock him out and not enough to crack his skull or break his jaw or into the neck, break the bone, break the hand. It doesn't work like that. It's like when the people say, you know, the police officer, the guy had a knife, they should have just shot him in the arm. That happens every once in a while. It's rare. And he probably was aiming center tap and missed and hit his arm. So it's very uncommon. Police officers are not taught to shoot the bad guy in the arm. What if he misses? What if there's like 30, 40 people in the background and it ricochets and hits somebody else, some innocent bystander? What if he misses and the guy gets close and the cop loses his life? They're taught double tap right in the center of the body, because this is where everything is that they need to take out in order to stop somebody who's a threat to your life. And so the same thing is true when it comes to striking with this. You're not gonna be able to hit him just hard enough to knock him out and not hard enough to potentially kill him. So you don't pull this out if you don't mean to use it. It's like any other weapon for self-defense. You don't remove it, you don't pull it out if you're not prepared to use it. And preparation starts long before you get there. So you don't just put one of these in your car and drive around, and then, you know, when you need it, you can pull it out and use it. You have to train with it. So you train these first two angles. You train horizontal strikes coming off of that body, keeping it tight, and then you come down through the middle. And then the next one coming from the side here, you can even, maybe he's behind you to the side, maybe there's multiple attackers. You have to strike this person first, and then you come back here, stick that right into his eyes, or his nose, his teeth for self-defense, maybe into the throat. That's fatal. You have to be sure that's what you want to do, right? You can also stick it down into the groin or into this thin piece of muscle between the belly button and the privates. You hit someone with that, with this hard piece of steel at the end, right behind you, using your whole body, turning into it. You're gonna drop somebody and put them on the floor. And the fifth one, which is very controversial, not controversial because it's violent or whatever, but controversial because not everybody agrees with me, which is totally fine. And we don't have to agree with each other. It's just information. Take what works for you and the rest discard it. I think Bruce Lee said that, right? Take what's useful, everything else, drop it. But here, taking two hands on it. The reason people don't like this one is they say, well, it could collapse and you could pinch your fingers, which is true if you're doing one of these strikes, which I prefer with a straight baton. I prefer this any day of the week. But if you turn and you stick that big piece of steel right through his teeth or his nose or his eyes for self-defense, you will create distance. You'll create stopping power just by sticking it through the face. And then you can weave those together. You do these angular strikes, your horizontal strikes, your vertical strike, that reverse hand strike, and then put your other hand on it, and then you push. And then if you were me, you would practice both sides of the body so you can fight evenly with your left hand as you do with your right hand. You know, what if he shoots you through his shoulder and you got to put the other hand and take the gun out of his hand because he's a bad guy or whatever. But learn how to fight ambidextrously, doing everything, you know, the same amount of time with one hand and then put it in the other hand and practice those same basic techniques. So there's just 5 simple techniques. There are many more that you can do with this or any other stick for self-defense. And before you invest in one of these, make sure that that you are allowed to have this where you live. These are legal in some states in the United States. These are illegal in most countries around the world. You can't have these. These are illegal in a lot of the states in the United States or certain municipalities, cities, counties, or whatever. So make sure your laws allow you to have this and carry this. Also, just know if you carry one of these in the front seat of the car and you get stopped by law enforcement and you're not a law enforcement person, you're gonna have a hard time explaining why you have a deadly weapon sitting next to you in the front. It's just like anything else. If you don't have a permit to carry it, then you should put it in the trunk or put it out of your arm's reach. That way when the question comes, why do you carry? You say, oh, I'm bringing it home, I'm bringing it to office, this is my personal self-defense tool, and you know, that's why I carry it. The question you had earlier, hello from India, question you had about the best wood for the Tonbo self-defense stick, which is a little bit shorter than this, but a similar type of thing. The Tonbo self-defense stick, I prefer oak or hickory if you can get it. If you can get ironwood, if you can get a really heavy hardwood, then go for one of those. Thank you. Sid, big fan of the bow staff videos. I love the Silambam, the Indian style. One of my favorite styles that I'm starting to learn these days. Yeah, Studer says you can't carry the ass in Minnesota. And I lived in Minnesota in South St. Paul for about 7 months one year. And I got there on Halloween, and all the kids came to the house trick-or-treating dressed as snowmobilers. And Studer, you'll appreciate this because you know how much snow can fall in October all the way through the next couple months. It gets cold, but a beautiful city. Como Park Zoo was favorite place that I went to every day to write in my journal, sit and look at the apes. Anyway, so if you've never been to the Twin Cities, it's a beautiful place to go. But you have these strikes in cold. Duluth is really cold, right, Studer? But you're coming through, you have these basic strikes, practice those strikes, learn how to use it if you're gonna carry it. And if you can't carry it, understand that you can get a straight stick and you can carry a straight stick that might be a little bit longer than this. And you might, even if you can't carry it, learn how to fight with sticks. And then there's sticks everywhere, you can pick them up. I saw just briefly, because I'm not watching the news, I'm taking a fast from the news for 21 days. As part of a personal goal challenge that I had. So I haven't been watching the news, but I did see something about a shooting that happened in maybe Monterey, tied to the Chinese New Year, or the Lunar New Year. And I think the gunman went to a second location to try to hurt a lot more people. And a person there who did not have a lot of extensive training, but just responded quickly, took a decision to wrestle the gun away from the shooter and saved a whole bunch of lives. And the only reason I mention that is because it doesn't take any special skill to defend yourself. It just takes the will to do it. That's it. You naturally are born with the ability to defend yourself. It's in your DNA, it's in your cells. We are human animals. We have all the same skills of self-defense that other animals have. You know how to fight, you know how to defend yourself. If you decide you won't be a victim, you will be the first responder, you will not allow this person to take from you your life, your dignity, your health, or the life, dignity, health of other people around you, and then you take some action. And that one person taking a little bit of action, hello Doug, this is actually Doug's. Doug sent me this. I told you earlier it was from law enforcement. Doug, we're talking about the basic strikes with your self-defense baton. And we're also talking about the active shooting that just happened, and the bystander working in a I think it was a restaurant or some type of venue, like a dance hall. He saw what he thought was someone about to take a bunch of lives, including his own, and he said, "Not today, not me." And he even ended with this quote about, how bravery is not the absence of fear, bravery is fear, and then taking action anyway. And that's the truth. Faith is the same way. Faith is not the absence of doubt. Faith is having the doubt and taking a step, doing it anyway. So have faith, have some bravery, take some action, act strong, and you become strong. You guys have been awesome. I'll see you in a little bit. Thank you very much.